Giants are back. I mean, let's face it. The Giants were wandering in the wilderness for far too long. Really, ever since this guy retired, two-time Super Bowl champ, New York legend, Eli Manning is on set. That's right. Give it up for Eli. Eli, how you doing, buddy? What's going on?
Doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on. Excited to be here.
Yeah, looking fit, looking fun. Like we were talking about some golf and the kids and everything. So, I mean, you retired a while ago, so the transition, it's not even about that. Even though you've made a great transition to TV and doing some other stuff. What was it like for you, knowing and being in the middle of the Giants at their height multiple times and then seeing so many things crumble? I mean, that had to just rip your heart out of your chest.
Yeah, it was tough. It was not just tough for me, tough for a lot of people, and obviously the ownership, because with the Maris and the Tisch, they're so committed. That was a big reason, wanting to come to the Giants, is that they are 100% committed to putting a championship caliber team out there every year. That's all they care about. This is their history. This is their life being as the New York Giants, and so committed. And so when things aren't going well, it's tough. You see it on them. You want to play well for them. You want to play well for the fans because they're so passionate and here and everybody. And so and when you win championships and you're feeling great, and all of a sudden it stops happening and you're not making playoffs and you're losing games, and it can wear on you. And but unfortunately, it's kind of an unfortunate that it didn't end as well as it started, but we had some great years, and so you kind of just try to think about the good years.
And they weren't good; they were great. I mean, Giant fans are. I mean, listen, if you put the Giant fans at the top of the list for New York sports fans, I don't know many people would argue with that. Maybe you debate one or two other fan bases, but the fans are great, and they hung through it, and now they're being rewarded. And as the transition continues with Shane and with Dable, listen, sometimes you bring in a new regime, and it feels right, and maybe there's some early results, and it peters out, or right away you're like, geez, we hired the wrong guys. Like as a Jets fan, the moment Adam Gase walked in the door, I'm like, we're screwed, man. It's over. Could you tell right away that these two gentlemen together were the right guys to elevate this franchise, get it back in the right direction?
Well,
Can you feel it?
Yeah, I mean, I think you felt it in the. I mean, I think you probably talked to the players a little bit more than me, just because they were living through coaching changes and just the attitude and just the atmosphere in the locker room. But you got a sense of it just from talking to for me, the guys who are still here, Saquon and Sterling Shepard and Daniel Jones and Dexter Lawrence, some of the guys you played with that. Just kind of talking to them, say, hey, how's the locker room? How's the new coach? How's Shane? What's going on? And just say, hey, so much better. And we're excited about what was going on. And so I think you see it now, just watching practices, having been around Daniel a little bit, and just his comfort level in this offense and what's expected of him. And they still, they're getting coached, and he wants to be coached. And you screw up, Dable, he's coming after you, and he's going to rip you a good one. And that's how coaches should be. If you mess up, you want to be coached, you want to be corrected, but you want to feel, that you're on the same page with everybody, and there's a respect, and I think they have that.
Eli, you're a guy who obviously made a name for himself in New York, and there's something, too, that you're a legend. We talk about Mark Messier, a guy who delivered a Stanley Cup to the Rangers. You delivered 2 Super Bowls in this town. You're immortalized forever. Is there anything that you teach some of these younger players, whether it's Daniel Jones or somebody else, about the importance of succeeding in New York, or what you have to do to be able to be successful in this town in particular?
Well, I think you got to be tough, and you got to be mentally tough, and just because it's not, it's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to be pretty. There's going to be terrible games. There's going to be rough seasons where you got to grind through it, and rough stretches, and so you can't let one bad game lead to another because, hey, your spirits are down, you're down in the tank. And so I think Daniel's done a great job with that. It hasn't always been smooth sailing for him. He's had, issues, he's had turnover issues, but he's fixed them. He's kept him, he's been responsible. He's taken the blame when he's messed up. He's, spread out the credit to other teammates when they're winning games and things are going well. So I think he has the right attitude, and this team has that attitude where, they've been through tough times. They've had success, last year, and they got to stay hungry. That's got to be a contagious deal. It can't be, I'm satisfied one good year. Hey, it's a good year, but it wasn't a great year. And I think they saw where they need to be when you see a team in your own division like the Eagles played them in the playoffs, got beat, see them go to the Super Bowl and say, hey, we're not there yet. We're not to their caliber. We got to step it up even more.
Yeah, that's the thing. You went through adversity, too. Just like Daniel Jones. People wanted you out of town. Oh, Eli will never win the big one, or they can't win with you. Having trouble in the regular season with the interception. You lived through it in this town with all the media getting on you. You came out the other end twice winning 2 Super Bowls. That is, like, you ever step back and think about how incredible it is, your career here in this town?
Well, I think you think about how easily it could have flipped.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, my 4th year in the league, and we're 0-2. Coughlin and I were almost out of town, and just how we go on a 6-game win streak, and hey, we make the playoffs, and I think about the Buffalo game, the second to last game of the season, where we got to, basically we got to win one of the next 2 games to make the playoffs. We're down at halftime, and we know we play the Patriots last game of the season, who are undefeated. So, we make a comeback, win that game, make it through the playoffs, make the playoff run, win Super Bowl. Just how a game or 2 can make the difference in an entire career, which is a little crazy.
Yeah.
So we're talking to Eli Manning, 2-time Super Bowl champ, of course. BT and Sal on the Fan Live at Giants camp. Daniel gets the contract, and he said this, and Shane has said this, and Dable has said this, that when they came in, they were going to evaluate who he was and what he was, and if they didn't see certain things, he wouldn't have the contract. It's that simple. Now, the way it works everywhere, but especially here, contract must equate to certain things. If you're an average paid player, you could be a role player. If you're getting that kind of money, you better be a star. Now, I think Daniel Jones can be a star. I really do. But he's got to throw more than 15 touchdowns. Do you think it's unrealistic to now increase the expectations significantly? All right, if we got a guy like Kirk Cousins who's throwing 30-something touchdowns, and I think that Daniel's more inherently talented than somebody like that, he's got to start doing more. I mean, that's just the way it goes. Is that unfair?
That's not unfair. I think, hey, when you get that second contract and you're going to be the quarterback for the future, there's got to be expectations, and I think he understands that. He knows that, and I think you got to be careful of trying to force things. You can't just say, I gotta throw 3 touchdowns a game, But with Daniel, it's not. Hey, it's still about winning games, and he has a lot of rushing touchdowns. He has a lot of rushing yards.
Yep.
Those things add up. And,
yep.
and so you got to, it's not about throwing touchdowns. It's about getting touchdowns. So whether he throws for, I don't think he has to say, I got to throw 30 touchdowns. It's about Giants scoring enough points. He doesn't care if Saquon has, 25 rushing touchdowns and he throws a few less. It's about getting in the end zone or he runs and gets touchdowns. I think this year, they've understand they got to add some weapons on the outside. They've done that. You've seen it through the draft, through some free agency, and with Waller on the inside. So they're adding more weapons and receivers for them. That should help create more big plays, more touchdowns in the red zone.
One of the things about New York teams, especially the ones that either win the championship or get right there, like the Knicks of the 90s never won, but their identity, tough, hard-nosed, we all love them, we all respect them. Ultimately, what is the identity of this group? What do you think it will be?
I think that's something they have to find out, and I don't think you can necessarily decide that in training camp.
Uh-huh.
It's not. You can't say this is our identity, and you just say this is it. You gotta form it, and you gotta figure it out. I mean, the 07 team where we went to Super Bowl, we kind of said we were like road warriors. We lost our first game on the road. We went 11 straight on the road. We liked it tough. We kind of, hey, we want the dogfight. We don't care if we get down a few. We're going to just, scratch and crawl. And it might not be pretty, but we're going to find a way. And that was kind of our mentality. And so we got down in games. We didn't freak out. We didn't stress out. We said, hey, we'd love to give a lead. Like, we'd love to be up 21 in the fourth quarter. It just wasn't happening a whole lot. So we kind of, we always talked about doing that and say, hey, this week, let's start fast. I'm like, everybody wants to start fast, but it's just, but if we don't, we're still prepared. So I think this team, they kind of had a little bit of that last year. Early on in the game, kind of wasn't always pretty, but found a way to win in Tennessee. A couple games, down in the fourth quarter, made comebacks. So I think they don't freak out. They have some veterans. They've been there before where, hey, you get down, hey, don't, let's not press now. Stay the course, stay within the offense, and we can go make plays and win close football games. That's what you have to do in the NFL. You have to win the close football games.
Eli, everybody talks about the helmet catch. And I remember I was at the game, sitting 50-yard line but up, And the thing that I remember is you somehow escaping the pressure. How the hell did you not get sacked on that play?
It's just these like big, powerful quads I have.
Dude,
I've gone side to side with Saquon. So similar, just the heavy squats, the power cleans, just
the mobility,
was able to get out, the mobility,
the elusiveness. Like,
just
dude,
athlete.
I
Just
remember
athlete
in my
basically.
mind's eye. I remember seeing it from where I was sitting in the upper tank there, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, is that to me? It's like the greatest play I've seen in NFL history, and then to be able to have the catch on the other end of it. But your scramble, your elusiveness in that spot, not being able to go down and take the sack—that's to me the key.
Well, the offensive line, they did a good job blocking the guys like off of me. They didn't do a great job blocking the guys originally, but then they kind of stayed with the blocks, and a few guys got hit off of me, and was able to roll out and just throw a ball in the middle of the field around 4 defenders and one receiver. Usually doesn't work out real well, but it worked out well that time.
They probably blow the whistle now. There's a chance.
I think in a Super Bowl they aren't going to blow that. I think it's just
even now.
Yeah, I don't think so. Just such a. I think they got to see critical plays in games. Like you're not going to be. I think he was getting ready to. Like you could see the ref kind of like bringing it up, like thinking about it, but. It wasn't. I think it was a good no call. Good no call.
So I know you've got your own show coming up, and I want to get some thoughts on that in a second. I need to know the over/under drinks consumed by Peyton during the Manning cast. I said it at 4.5. We going over? Or we going
4.5. It's a good question. He's got his little like solo cup or his Yeti there or whatever. So I don't know what's in there. I don't know what he's drinking. I know he often says he's funnier after a few drinks. So like whatever that means, or I don't know what a few means exactly to him. Everybody there's a definition of a few, but with Peyton, I know he thinks he's a little funnier. He relaxes a little bit after a few pops.
So what about the Eli Manning show now? By the way, the one thing I love maybe more than your big plays and your playing days in the 2 Super Bowls, your personality. You and Peyton are great together. I do enjoy the Manning cast, and now you have a new show, the Eli Manning show on YouTube for the Giants.
Yeah, so doing that with Sean O'Hara. We've been doing it going into our 3rd season doing that. A lot of fun, just getting a lot of entertainers, famous people, athletes, former athletes, interviewing them, just kind of getting their story if they're a football fan or a Giants fan or just a fan of sports. Just, having a lot of fun. Sean O'Hara, my center, one of my best friends, so we kind of just make fun of each other a lot. It's pretty similar. I think our relationship's pretty similar to what I have with Peyton, where neither of us are sensitive. So we know, hey, we're going to take shots at each other. If we screw up, like, we know we're about to get hit hard, and, like, they're coming after us with they're going to call you out right away. And so we have a lot of fun and get some great guests and enjoying that process.
I got to ask you this. So one of the things that made you special is that you're always calm. When you were doing well, you looked the same. When things were going awry, you looked the same. So I don't think that you cared too much about headlines and hype and pub. But some people do, and so there's egos, and I think you did a great job suppressing yours as a quarterback for the Giants. The other team in town right now, who hasn't done a damn thing, they are getting all the hype. I don't think it would have bothered you if you were playing, but do you think it bothers some of the Giants who played last year, went to Minnesota, won a road playoff game? They're sitting here saying, we're getting covered like we're the JV. We're the Giants. They're the Jets. They haven't done anything. Do you think that's a little bit of a rally cry for this team?
Well,
a little bit.
I think it can be. I think it can be a little motivation, but I think it's, hey, let's go. It's gonna come. Let's go prove it on the field, right? Let's go earn our respect. Let's go earn the headlines by us playing well. And in New York, sometimes the headlines, sometimes you want to stay out of the headlines. The headlines are usually when things are going bad. That's when it's the big headline. When you're playing well, you kind of can ride under the radar a little bit. So nothing wrong with that. It's still it's not about winning the off season. It's about winning during the season, winning games. And so I think it's fun though. I think when it's just when the New York teams are playing well. It's exciting, and whether it's the Devils, it's the Rangers, the Knicks, Giants, Jets.
Who's your favorite team besides the Giants here? Who's your favorite team? You got to watch one game. You got to go to a playoff game. Who is it? Yankees. Knicks,
I think Yankees. I think just because when they were got to see them win championships, and Jeter was kind of my role model when I got here, kind of following how he performed, how he handled the media, how he handled his his private life. Like, he was the guy. So I think right away I was kind of drawn to the Yankees and watching them. Got to see them win a World Series. I've been here 20 years. The Knicks. They're kind of getting there now, but they didn't have a great run during those first 15 years.
What, you didn't like watching Stevie Francis and Eddie Curry play?
Eli, would you have liked? By the way, sorry for the sunglasses. I'm not a douche. I have cataracts. I can't really see.
It's all good.
Cataracts at 43.
You believe that?
No, I don't.
I'm an old man. 43. Maybe you could relate to that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or would you be somebody who would like to be on Hard Knocks? I know you're doing all this stuff in the media now.
Not when I was playing. No, I just think cameras around all the time. Just it can't be great for the camaraderie or just like the looseness in the locker room or just knowing is this on tape, is it not on tape?
Well, that would be awful.
When are you on air? When are you off air? Where are these cameras? What's I know you'll have final approval. They don't want to make anybody look bad, and they're going to protect you. But it's just, I don't know. I think it would just be awkward with the cameras around that much.
Yeah, but counterpoint real fast. Like cameras are there, so there's a heightened awareness. Like I better bust my hump in every drill.
So you don't think he was doing that, BT?
I think there's always a camera on the field. You're being filmed and everything. It's more like in the locker room, in the meeting rooms, stuff going on. Just, But
you would have been funny with that. Your personality, which I didn't really get a sense of.
He wasn't that funny when he was playing.
Yes, he was.
Funny. Yeah, no, I was
the
boring.
Pranks, what are you talking about? All the pranks that we've heard about, the legendary stuff?
I just don't think I would have done that with the camera around. Because then they would have known it was me. Part of the pranks is I never did any pranks. I don't.
Sure.
Yeah, right. I'm sure.
All right, there he is. Generous with your time. I'm going to let you run. Everybody give it up for Eli Manning.
Thanks, Sal. Appreciate it.
A two-time Super Bowl champ, New York sporting legend. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Eli.
Appreciate it.
All right, how those cataracts doing? Look
I
out, I got to
like
read something.
I got glasses on. I want to look him in the eye. I can't see with this glass. It's disrespectful. I didn't mean any disrespect. Two-time Super Bowl champ. What are you kidding me?
Meanwhile, I'm putting glasses on to read this.